Hello, I'm Pat Palmer and I'm here with A Minute for Life. As of today, I've done nearly 20 videos on many varied topics. And as I look back at them, I realize that many of them come from my own life experiences over many years. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I've talked about being an RN, a hospital chaplain, and a director of a pregnancy care center. And today I want to share something that happened to me when I was executive director of programs at a large inner city rescue mission. You must think that I'm like that true life character in the movie The Great Imposter. Uh, the main character there pretended he was a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, and a number of other professions, and he fooled everyone for several years. But I promise you that I have done the jobs that I've talked about. I guess when you get to be 81 years old, like I am, you've lived long enough to have lots of different jobs and experiences. And I'd like to tell you about an experience that caught me off guard. And although it happened many years ago, it remains fresh in my memory. Although I was working mostly with homeless drug addicts, I have to admit that there were times when I was repulsed by what I saw, especially in working with the crisis population who were actively using some of the worst street drugs that were popular at the time. It was a cold winter afternoon, and I was paged by the receptionist to leave my second floor office and go to the main entrance, and that there was a police officer waiting to talk with me. I went down, and my eye caught a uniformed officer who had brought a homeless drug addict to us to see if we could help her. I vaguely recognized her as being a former resident of our year-long life recovery program. She was filthy dirty. Her hair was matted. Her teeth had rotted out, and the odor was almost unbearable, and it could be smelled throughout the lobby. I had to struggle not to gag, and I'm sure my face showed how repulsed I was. I'm ashamed to even think about my immediate reaction when I saw her. I swallowed hard and I took her into a small private room just off the lobby and sat next to her on a couch. There were tiny white dots that scurried around over her worn coat, and I don't even want to think what they were, but unbelievably, I found myself reaching out for her hand, and she immediately collapsed into my arms, runny nose and all. And most surprisingly, I leaned into her and held her like a baby, and she just completely broke down sobbing. No words were said for several minutes, but I felt a loving spirit in that place that I had never felt before. The police officer took her and me to the hospital where she could safely detox with the promise that when it was safe, she could come back and stay as long as she needed. I wish I could say that everything worked out, but in reality, she left the hospital against medical advice and was again lost to the streets. I never saw or heard from her again, but I know that for a few short moments, she knew that God loved her and would help her if she could just trust Him enough to give herself over to Him. Maybe she did later on. I can only pray that she did. How many more broken, empty hearts are out there needing a hug? Think about it.